This podcast is a quest for well-being, a quest for a meaningful life through the exploration of fundamental truth. Enlightening ideas, insights on physical, mental, and spiritual health. The inspiration is love. The aspiration is to awaken new ways of thinking that can lead us to a new way of being well. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Soul Healing Conversations.
It's okay to get divorced. Divorce is evolution, not failure. There are ways to compassionately, gracefully, gently, and lovingly separate. Valeria Teles interviews Bianca Best, the author of Flourish, Redefine Success and Create More Time, Energy, Impact, and Happiness. Bianca Best is an author, award-winning advertising executive, entrepreneur, mother of four, global managing director, leadership coach, and founder of the transformational 6-step escape program, which empowers individuals to redefine success and create more time, energy, impact, and joy. Launching a tech business in 2004, Bianca built the Bespoke Gift Company, a pioneering personalized gift platform. After an exhilarating decade learning that with the right focus, energy, and vision, anything is possible, Bianca joined Dentsu Aegis to run global advertising accounts, where she won the IPA and Campaign's 2016 Woman of Tomorrow accolade. She currently thrives within WPP, leading a third millennium consultancy for MediaCom, partnering with global brands such as Mars, Coca-Cola, Sony, and Uber to accelerate digital transformation agendas amidst the volatility of ever-undulating economic and modern marketing landscapes. Bianca describes her CV as a chronology of passions explored, and through her private business, Flourish is on a mission to heal the world's burnout epidemic by empowering individuals and companies to thrive. Through 6 powerful pillars, the science-based escape program halts passivity to life's buffeting whirlwind, heralding mental and physical well-being. She energizes, teaches, and motivates ambitious individuals to maximize their impact without burnout by offering coaching, mentoring, delivering keynotes, and hosting workshops for large corporates such as Amazon, Snapchat, and WPP. Meet Bianca at biancabest.com. Here's the interview with Bianca Best.
In your own words, who is Bianca Best?
Well, I am a mother, first and foremost. I'm a writer, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a global business leader. And I'm somebody that embraces life every which way. I have really dived into exploring passions at every stage of my life, almost innately. And it's led to a really fun life, a fun, full and rewarding life, but it's had its undulations, and I've gone through cycles of really intense burnout earlier in my career, juggling a family and running businesses. And so I've really shifted into a place of healing and devote myself now to helping others heal. So yes, I'm still mothering my 4 children. Yes, I still have a big corporate job. Yes, I'm running multiple businesses. But my focus is really around healing the corporate environment so that individuals and organizations can thrive, but also really working with individuals to stop them feeling stuck and help them progress forward positively. And really my promise to anyone that I work with is that I help you find the work, the love, and the vitality that you desire and ultimately really do deserve. So I'm very, very focused on that as my raison d'etre.
Do you call this a purpose, that you have found your purpose in life?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so my question is, which a lot of people ask, how do we find our purpose and how do we know once we have found it?
Yeah, and I, again, it's something that I've spent a lot of time trying to work out what my purpose is. And if ever I felt misaligned, disconnected from an energetic flow in life, I think that's when I've been off my course, my purposeful course. And really, for me, I think my epiphany of sorts, and this happened gradually, is paying attention to what people would ask me for advice on the most. And I think for everybody, pay attention to that, because quite often when people are coming to you saying, how do you do that? How do you do that? And you're just bashing out the advice, really just naturally, easily, effortlessly. Actually, that's a real clue to what your gift is and how you can help people. And I noticed several years ago that I just had this proliferation of everyone from corporate colleagues to friends to people in my local community coming to me and saying, how do you do it? How do you juggle a family? How do you juggle your business? But how do you stay vital and energized and manage to run every day and keep smiling? What is it? What do you do? And so I took that as a bit of a calling, if you like, to actually almost package it up and really turn it into a program and a method that will help others learn from the methods that have worked for me. And so, yeah, I do feel it's a purpose. I really do. And I love it. And I think also, if you feel energized by the work that you're doing, that's a really big clue as well.
Question came to mind recently that I have not asked most of my guests, and I would love to. I'll ask you. How do we know when we are tired, burned out, or stressed out, burned out really, and relaxed, and very relaxed, where we don't have all this energy to spend because we just want to stay quiet and pause and rest? Yeah. I mean, I think identifying when you are burnt out is when you've hit that critical point of too much frenetic productivity and you've expended your energy. You've probably been operating in a high cortisol state and it's very dangerous. That is very different to being in a relaxed, introvert, calm state. And I think it's important to segregate the two. I know that whilst I am an extrovert and I get a lot of energy from other people and I love speaking on stage and moments like this and interacting with the others, I find that very energizing. But I have to have solitary time at the end of every single day where I retreat into my bedroom, which I've created as a sanctuary. And from 10 o'clock onwards in the evening, it's my time and I don't want my kids in my room. Everybody knows it's my sacred time. And that's when I journal and I will come off my devices. And that is my rejuvenation time. So I've had to really conscientiously build that into my routine because I recognize that that was part of my journey to heal on a daily basis, because I do pack in a lot. I love a rich, varied, full, busy life. And I know, I'm sure you do as well. When we're energized with our work, it's really hard to say no to opportunity and doing more. But actually that discipline of actually carving out time of deep relaxation is really, really important. And identifying what it is for you that helps you relax and step into that place of rejuvenation, because we're all bio-individual. And so what relaxes me, journaling and sitting on my bed, might actually not be the thing that relaxes you. So it's about identifying what helps you become restored and build up your energetic reserves again. So my first question is, what is your understanding of self-awareness and what does balance look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, self-awareness is an interesting one because I think for a long time and for many people, so for me personally and for a lot of people, I think it gets confused with being selfish and wanting to spend time journaling or wanting to read another personal development book and progress inner growth, I think can sometimes be seen as very self-indulgent. And it's important to actually contextualize it and recognize that actually it's an imperative to growth in life. And building in time for self-awareness is absolutely, it's key to your success. And my book, Flourish, Redefine Success and Create More Time, Energy, Impact and Happiness, is actually all based around starting with the self-awareness that gets you to become really conscious of what ignites you, what depletes you, what it is that motivates you to get out of bed in the morning and to really start to hone in to what success looks like for you, because again, it's going to be very individual. So self-awareness matters so much, and we have to build it in as a daily practice is my advice to anyone on the path to growth. And it's looking at how you can build it in, and it's recognizing your emotional undulations, your cognitive ability to process, make decisions, and recognizing when you feel depleted, and understanding intellectually what stimulates you, what drains you, all this. It really starts to help you identify how to flourish. And you can't do that when you are reactive in life, when you are just being swept downstream by the really busy, intense lives that so many of us really have experienced and are experiencing at a more accelerated pace than ever seen in our history. Taking the time out to actually identify how we can succeed and navigate this is absolutely crucial. So to your question around balance, it starts with this self-awareness. And then you step into this place of life feeling a little bit more fluid and harmonious. And I think balance itself is almost a bit of is it a utopian state? Actually, you know, balance would indicate two sides of two different scales and a yo-yo. And actually, it's not necessarily about polarities, because really it's about this fluidity of an undulating cycle of how we go through each day, each week, each year, and ensuring that we are rejuvenated, nourished, and able to contribute, because that's really what we're all about, isn't it? As humans, we've got human essence, human spirit, and we want to be able to be significant contributors however we can. And that comes from self-awareness, and then balancing the freneticism of life with what enables us to contribute.
Self-awareness, the way you speak of it, this state of being, state of mind, it kind of makes me think about spiritual practices. Do you connect self-awareness to spirituality somehow?
Yeah, I do. And for me, spirituality is believing in something greater than ourselves, and having that trust in something, an energetic realm. And is it God? Is it the divine? Is it? I haven't labeled it. I wasn't raised in a devoutly religious family, but I believe I'm surrounded by some energetic flow that propels me onwards in a positive way if I tune into it. And so the intuition and awareness of something bigger than me that is connected to all of us and driven by love and harmony is something that I really revere, and do spend time connecting into that. And that's the sort of external connection that I will feel when I'm standing in a field of yellow flowers with my son, we're holding hands and watching the sunset. And that is a moment of just gratitude and bliss and just awe at the world. And that for me becomes a spiritual moment, because it's healing and soothing right from within. And I feel incredibly grateful for that. But then there's also I'll do a daily meditation practice that is very much about stilling and quieting the mind. Would you call is that a spiritual practice, or is that more self-awareness? I mean, I'm interested actually, what would you call that?
I don't see separation actually. Everything is spiritual. Everything is self-aware. Everything's aware. What I'm interested in a lot of time, it's how do we get to choose, and if it is possible to choose all the time, to have these wonderful, graceful experiences here. I get different answers, and from my own experience in observing myself in this body, I see that it's always moving, it's always dancing, it's not fixed in any way. So it's kind of interesting.
No, I agree. And I think it's interesting, and I bet that we and all your listeners are probably all very aware of when we're disconnected from that dance that you've just described. And for me, I think I noticed that either if previously, if I was tripping into a burnout, proper breakdown type thing 15 years ago, I think that would be a sense of disconnection and freneticism. But also, I think even in my generally consistently balanced state now, sometimes if I feel myself flutter a little bit upwards into a slightly cortisol peaked state, then I think that also can trigger a bit of a disconnection, and it needs to then be grounded. And it's about then soothing that energy back down within, and maybe doing that sort of physically by just being exercising or being in nature, or just having more soothing foods or whatever I know won't trigger me. And then bringing it back down into that grounded, centered state that enables that dance to continue healthily.
That is the very interesting part of this experience, to be able to do that. Some say go back home, go back to the space that we want to be, because it seems to me, everything is imagined. We're creating everything all the time. We're creating and uncreating. We have that power, don't we?
Yeah, exactly that. It's something I think we have to pay attention to our emotions, because they're real and we feel them, but our reactions to those emotions are not necessarily valid, because those reactions could be actually born out of, like you've just said, projection, fear, or worry, imagined. It may not be born out of reality, but instead of some perception that's fake. So it's observing emotions as they cycle through us and observing the reactions that they trigger, and how can we manage those reactions, or what can we learn from those reactions? And It's fascinating at the moment. I'm really exploring this, because if you pay attention to what triggers you, you can learn so much about yourself and your beliefs, and it's fascinating.
So true. I love the way you say that with a lot of enthusiasm, because it is fascinating very much. I still cannot even conceive that we can talk about these things using the mind. Like, how can we have this conversation? How is it possible? Yeah, it is amazing, the whole experience, isn't it? You probably have been already talking about what success is for you, but I'd like to ask the direct question. So how do you define success these days? What is to be successful to you?
Success for me is this. I have this imaginary plug that I plug into flow, and I've really started to tune into this intuitively. And that feeling plugged in on a daily basis to what is my flow is what success means to me. And this is going to sound so ethereal, but I know that you will understand it.
Oh, yes.
This is the right audience.
Yes.
And so it's absolutely not about material gain, the extrinsic side of life, and it's not about validation from others. Yes, it's about being with my children. Absolutely. Yes, it's about having the time and the space to be able to nourish myself. Yes, it's about love, giving love and receiving love. But fundamentally now, I've really learned that when I feel that I'm plugged in and I'm flowing in the right way, and I really think this comes back to I'm contributing in a way that makes a difference. My work is meaningful, my impact is resonating, and it's supporting and helping others and shaping lives. That is success. So it's very much about inner peace. And it's really, I'm glad you've asked that question, because really I'm articulating it this way for the first time. And maybe it's a year in lockdown that's really provoked that sense of, okay, this really is what success looks like for me.
Yeah, inner peace. Yes, it goes, for me, it always goes back to that. Yes, being at peace, right. Living and dying in peace. Right.
Exactly. And I think it's Paul Coelho who said that happiness is going to sleep peacefully at night. I think it was him. I think that was one of those quotes. But it's so true, and it's so important. And that really is key. And even with decision making, I'm doing a lot of work at the moment on making decisions with integrity. And ultimately, when you are faced with a really important decision and you've got to commit to one way or the other, ask yourself the question of, does it bring me peace? And then that's your answer. And it makes life quite simple, actually, if you adopt that as a principle.
So you wrote the book, Flourish, Redefine Success and Create More Time, Energy, Impact, and Happiness. How did you become a writer, Bianca? And what was the main inspiration and intention of writing your book?
Well, I am a writer through and through. And since I was a little girl, all I've ever wanted to be was a writer and to write. It's my absolute passion. I love creative writing, but communicating is my thing. So I've dreamt of publishing a book since I was a little girl, and I have voraciously written all my life. My first job was as a copywriter in a magazine. But this particular book, Flourish, came about after I'd recognized that I was being asked again and again, how do you do it? How do you do it? And so I sat down and I thought, how do I do it? And that really gave birth to my 6-step transformational program that's called the Escape Method. And that is 6 aspects of life. The first one is energy, and really looking at our individuality, our bio-individuality, what energizes us, depletes us, and tuning into that in such a way that we ensure that we stabilize, regulate, and maximize our own individual energy levels. The second step is around self-awareness. The third one is around cleansing. So we make space for the good stuff that we want to bring into our lives. And then it's action. A is for action. Once we've identified goals and really got clarity around what the vision is for our best life, our best selves, what's the action that we're going to take to step into it? P is play, ensuring that we bring creative joy into our lives, because that's incredibly important as well. And then E is around enrichment. So I created this 6-step plan that was actually in its first essence was just an articulation of what I'd done, really, to get myself into a place of balance and not burning out. And then I started hosting retreats. The first one I did was a morning. I posted it on my local notice board and said I was inviting anyone struggling with balance in life to just come around, spend a morning with me, and I'd talk about these 6 steps. And it was incredibly popular, and a lot of people turned up. So then I hosted another one a month later, then another one, and then I extended it, so it became a whole day. And it seemed to really resonate. So it was quite a natural progression to then put it into a book and really be able to scale the message and just share it with more people. And now it means whenever I do events and I work with organizations like Amazon or Snapchat and WPP, and whenever I give my escape workshop, my talk, my event, my keynote, whatever it might be, everybody gets a book as well. So it means that the legacy of the wisdom that has worked for me is passed on. So it's just special because it means that the magic continues beyond the initial interaction. So it really has been a dream come true, becoming a published author, and I'll get emails from strangers saying they've just finished my book and they've done this, that, and the other, and it's changed their life. So it's incredibly rewarding, as I'm sure you know, as an esteemed yourself.
I would like you to talk to me. Actually, I have a question for you about escape. That's the acronym. I will ask you a question around escape, this idea of escaping something. So if we are trying to escape something, what would that be? What we are trying to escape from?
Primarily, it's from reactivity.
Right.
It's not harnessing the power that we hold within ourselves to direct our lives. And sadly, I think too many of us have just been swept downstream. And then think about the midlife crisis. It's an eruption of suddenly realizing passively life has just overwhelmingly happened to you. And of course, you're going to wake up in your 40s and have a midlife crisis and say, well, how did I get here? So actually, it's about escaping from reactivity and passivity and stepping into an empowered place where you control your attitude. You're very aware and conscious of your choices, and you start to enjoy life more because it is an adventure and it's here for us to seize and have fun. And I always say to people, if they're looking for new jobs or career guidance, I'll just say, are you going to have fun doing it? Do you like the people? Do you like the concept of the role? If so, great. Get involved.
And that's why I love to the P have played there, this being light, just playing more in life and not taking anything ourselves or anything too seriously. That's the truth.
Exactly. And scientists have actually proven that we are more effective and more productive when we take time out from the focused work tasks and actually go and do frivolous play. It's utterly disconnected because we use different sides of our brains. And when you flip to using a different area of your brain to just play, it actually rests that other side that you use for work. So it gives you a break. So it actually rejuvenates you. And it's imperative. It's been scientifically proven again and again that play is important to enhance overall cognitive function. So play more.
Yeah, play more, laugh more. Right. I agree. It makes so much sense. There's so much to learn about ourselves. Yeah, sometimes we get, not sometimes, most of us, unfortunately, get caught up in using just certain abilities we have, but we have so many. It's almost, we are infinite beings. I mean, life itself is such an amazing mystery. So, yeah, we should be always open to exploration, always.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's actually a sad system, certainly in the UK, where I look at our education system, where we see children categorized as either academic or creative. And it just then creates this self-fulfilling prophecy of, oh, no, I'm not creative. I'm just academic. And people start to shut down that side of creativity, which is really unhealthy because look at us as children. We all played innately.
True. That's true, Bianca. Do you think that this is changing somehow, the school systems, becoming more integrative?
Not yet. No, not yet. And I think obviously we're in crisis with all the remote learning and what the past year has created for our children. Has been an environment where play has not been enabled at school because they've been at home, really. So yeah, I don't know what that future looks like, but it's definitely something that bothers and concerns me, and more creativity does need to come into schools. I really fundamentally believe that.
Yes, yeah. Well, if that doesn't happen soon enough, it's important to be aware, as you are, as a mother, to bring that to your home so you educate them in that sense. So we are almost at the end. I do have some other questions for you about, there's one more about divorce. That's the topic that we didn't talk about. So you sent it to me, an interesting phrase. You say, it is okay to get divorced. Divorce is evolution, not failure. There are ways to compassionately, gracefully, gently, and lovingly separate. That's really beautiful. So my question is, how do we do that? Not that I'm getting divorced, but how do we do that? Not yet. Hopefully not.
It's about being very compassionate and very conscious. And the reason that I'm writing this book now is because I've gone through my own divorce after 26 years of being together. My husband and I separated last year. And it was, obviously it's sad, but I was having dinner. I was at a dinner party sitting next to a man, and I was talking to him about the fact that I was getting divorced. And he said, well, you failed. You failed. It's failure. And I was quite indignant. And I said, no, we've just evolved. And it really just stimulated me to know, because it is fundamentally it's evolution. And I think what I've learned from really researching this, working with a lot of women that I coach through their own relationship rehabs, believe me, I'm not encouraging divorce, but if divorce is the right path, it's understanding that it's simply evolution. And we put really unfair expectations on our love partnership to be this idyllic utopia forever, and for it to continue as it was on the honeymoon forever and ever and ever. And if you contrast that to the friendships, the other relationships you have in life, whether it's with family members or your friends or your colleagues, it's all transient and it changes and it undulates. You'll have different groups of friends that give you different things at different points in your life. And yet with our life partner, we unrealistically demand this consistency to stay as we were. And that proves challenging when we naturally, as individual beings are on our own journeys and our own paths. And I think if you get to a point where your paths no longer align and you've got different visions and values, which naturally evolve over time, it's okay to say, okay, I recognize actually we'll be happier apart, and there is no crime in that. And sadly, I feel too many women and men stay in or any relationship, heterosexual or otherwise, stay in relationships for too long simply because we feel society will judge us, the children will despise us, we can't do it gracefully, we can't do it compassionately. And actually we can. With compassion and consciousness, it's absolutely possible to move on and do so in a way where you accept it's evolution, not failure. So I'm really intent on sharing the methods, the ways that it's possible to do this through my next book. And I know that it's needed and necessary. And the publishers that I'm speaking to already are saying that this is an absolutely essential book. So yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to publish it.
Yeah, it sounds very good. Please let me know. I'd love to talk to you more about it. And I do have a question for you about the consciously, compassionately moving or flowing with this change, which is life is all about change, movement. So what if just one side of that coin, which is the same thing, but just you, not the husband, he's not on the same mental frame or understanding. So how do you navigate that?
Well, that's exactly what happened to me. My partner really didn't want us to divorce. And it took nearly 10 years, actually, of endlessly looking at other routes, options, trying marriage counselling, and me leaving and then him pleading with me to stay. And it was very, very difficult and very sad. But in the end, because I was so loving the whole time, I love him. I love and respect 26 years and 4 children. That's something to be revered. But it was about really compassionately almost holding his hand through the acknowledgement that we need to transition to a place where we're going to be happier, and we've got to go through this pain. And yes, I was the braver one to recognize that we really did need to make the change. And it was painful for both of us. But here we are, full year on since he finally left our home, and he's happy. And he recognizes that it was the right thing, but it's not easy. And it definitely made me feel the magnitude of what I was doing was epic. And I felt guilty, and I was wrought with self-loathing and fear about him and his well-being and the children's reaction. And I just had to stay true to the fact that I love him. And it's simply evolution. And I don't love him in the way that I wanted him to be the life partner for the next 26 years. And when we sat down and really looked at what we want in the future and what our values are, we're wildly different. I was 18 when I met him. And so he came to that point of acknowledgement and acceptance, and we've moved on. So it is possible, but there will be resistance. And so it's managing that gracefully and very, very kindly, and just taking a lot of deep breaths and not rising when those fraught, intense, emotional conflict moments do bubble up, but just staying very centered and listening and being empathic and just trying to be progressive, kindly the whole time.
I love that approach, Bianca. Thank you for having this presence, bringing this message to this reality. Yes, yeah, absolutely. If we can do this in every area in our lives, yeah, that's it. That's what I call success. Yeah, absolutely. So we're almost at the end, and I have a few more questions for you, the ending questions. Would you like to add anything or read a passage in your book, Flourish?
Wow. Thank you. That is an invitation. I've got the book in front of me now. Yeah, what can I read? I could read something to you. Okay, I'll read you just this is where the book has opened.
Yeah. Yes,
Beliefs and values. This is really interesting considering the conversation we've just had, and I'm not kidding. This is what I call spirituality and divine guidance. Okay, beliefs and values. My definition of self-awareness is that it means having a consciousness of one's own values and belief systems and how they impact your behaviors. And then beliefs, the main way I transcended my self-awareness beyond stream of consciousness journaling was to identify and evaluate my own belief systems and values. I came to recognize the power of beliefs as either limiting or empowering, and to see how values motivated the majority of my behavior, actions, and thoughts. I also came to acknowledge the breadth of different life perspectives each individual holds as totally unique to themselves. And then I go on and describe all sorts of different scenarios and how we perceive them individually.
Yes, yeah. It goes back to that, perception, right?
Yeah.
When we get to self-awareness, then we are now exploring the world, the realm of beliefs. And I love the way you have in your book, where you say it, beliefs can be limiting or empowering, right? That's exactly. So important to understand.
It is. I say that to my children all the time. I say, if you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah, right. Either way. Yes.
Exactly.
That'll be the reality that we'll live in, right?
Exactly.
For sure. So my ending questions, let me see. Yeah, let me ask you this one. What was the hardest lesson to learn about yourself and life as of today?
The hardest lesson is that I need to sleep.
Yeah.
I need to sleep. And sleep is absolutely fundamental to thriving. And I resisted that for a very long time because I grew up in the 80s where it was work hard, play hard, and disrespect the fact that we're in a human body that actually needs rejuvenation. And so when I set up my first business back in 2004, I had 4 children under 7 because I had twins as my third and fourth. I was running a business and I would work around the clock on no sleep. I'd be feeding children, working, running a tech gift business. And then I wondered why I crashed and burned. So I think learning that I needed sleep was one of the biggest, most profound lessons ever. And I had the privilege of meeting Arianna Huffington a couple of years ago and sitting in her office, and she signed a copy of her book, Sleep, The Sleep Revolution, and read it word for word twice. And I really do revere sleep, and it's just an essential part of us flourishing.
True. And it is. Yeah. That's interesting that, we tend to do that. Sometimes I do that too, but not in the sense of not getting 8 hours of sleep. I always do, but it's going to bed late. Do you have any protocols that you wanted to give as a suggestion to the audience for sleeping? What is the best approach to it?
I think revering it, recognizing it is absolutely core to thriving. And what I love is taking this mindset that when you go to bed, the time that you go to bed, that is the start of your new day.
Right. Oh, interesting.
Because then it really sets you up. And if you want to start your day knowing that you're all full of energy and rejuvenated, then make sure that you go to bed in the right way. And that's the beginning of your new day.
So true. If you want to know your future, just pay attention to what you're doing now, right?
Exactly.
It's right. Exactly. It's right here. So true. 3 more questions for you, Bianca.
Okay.
What is another word for healing?
I'm going to say peace. Peace.
Yeah, I would say that too. Yes.
Would you? Good.
And 2 more questions. If you knew you would die soon, meaning leaving the body, would you make any change or do anything in a different way?
No.
Oh, I love that answer.
No,
really fast, too.
Yeah, I don't even regret. No way. No.
Yeah. No. I love that answer every time I hear. Yeah, especially when it comes like with no thinking. It's really clear. No doubts, no.
Exactly. Well, we learn, don't we? From the good, the bad, the failures, the successes. We learn. It's all a journey.
And the last question is, what are 3 things about life you know for sure as of this moment?
3 things of life that I know for sure as of this moment. That love is absolutely key to everything, everyone, everything. And just when you walk into every moment filled with love, it just obliterates fear, worry, any negativity. So love is absolutely omnipresent. I know that life is abundant in potentiality, and I find that exciting. I find it moving. I find it, moving actually. There's magic in it if we choose to see it. Right. And life is a gift. Life is a gift. That's it. That's how it is. That's how I see it.
I love your wisdom, Bianca. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presence. You have this very energetic, high vibration, some call it, energy. It's really beautiful, the way you flow.
Oh, bless you. Well, thank you for doing your wonderful work and inviting me to come and talk to you. It's really lovely. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So before we say goodbye, where can we find more information about you, your books, products, services, and future projects?
Thank you. So I have my website. It's biancabest.com, and everything is there, including a free audiobook that you can access that teaches you how to stop the struggle and find the work, love and vitality that you want. So please visit. There's all sorts of resources and information around my events and online programs, and it would be my pleasure to serve you.
Thank you so much again, Bianca, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about Bianca Best and her work, please visit biancabest.com.
To learn more about this podcast, please visit fitforjoy.org/podcast. Thank you again for listening, and bye for now.